Welcome to the Coffee Playdate podcast. I'm your hostess, Dr. Olga Deengar, and this is the place where I chat with entrepreneurs and physicians doing incredible things outside of medicine. I have a very special guest with me today, Dr. Alison Curfman. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I'd like to start off by asking, if you drink coffee, how do you like your coffee?
Great question. And I'm drinking it right now, but I usually drink just an Americano black. And I have to have it when I wake up in the morning, like immediately. I have to have black coffee. I even have like a travel hot water kettle that I take with me and like coffee
Yes.
supplies because I'm actually pretty obsessed with coffee.
I love that. All right. So let's start off with our first game. It's going to be a rapid fire questions game. I'll give you two options and you just choose the one that you like more.
Okay.
First one, weekend ER shift or mastermind retreat?
Mastermind retreat.
How about a mentorship call or an investor pitch?
Mentorship call.
A vision first or execution first?
Vision first.
And the last one is investing in real estate or investing in physician startups?
Well, I think that's obvious for me. Investing in physician startups is kind of my gig.
Now, the second game is going to be similar to the first. It's called Take a Sip, but this time we both have to answer. And if our answers match, then we take a sip from our coffee mugs. First one is family movie night or outdoor adventure?
Okay, mine would be outdoor adventure.
Me too. I love outdoor adventures. We take a sip. How about spontaneous road trip or planned itinerary?
I'd say planned itinerary. I tend to have all of our travel planned months in advance.
Yes, me too. Next one is matching family outfits or everyone fends for themselves?
I would say in normal life, everyone fends for themselves. But once a year, I do make us do a family photo with a photographer with like coordinating outfits, not necessarily matching.
Nice. Is it around the holidays time?
It's usually on whatever our biggest trip is. So a couple years ago, we were in Kauai and had a photographer there. Last year, we were in Europe and we got some photos taken in Paris. So
I would also have to say everyone fends for themselves. So cheers to that. And then the last one is swimming or running?
definitely swimming. You may not know this about me, but I have been a competitive swimmer since high school and I swim constantly, like all the time, like a lot.
It's amazing. I would have to say running. I love running.
Okay. I used to be a competitive runner too. I did a lot of long distance running. I ran the Boston Marathon twice. I definitely used to run like 80 miles a week when I was in med school, but I think it's too hard on my joints. So I've been a swimmer since high school and I have to swim. Otherwise, my brain won't function.
I didn't know that about you. Amazing. So I do know a little bit about you, but I want you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm a pediatric ER doctor. I still practice in several ERs as a PRN or locums doctor, but I mainly work with startups and venture. I made this transition because of my own journey, starting my own startup with a private equity firm that recruited me because they were interested in investing in complex peds and found a paper that I had published on the programs that I used to run to really provide new models of care and support for children with medical complexity. I started that company and we incubated it in 2022 and launched in 2023. It's grown to a multi-nine-figure valuation in just 2 years, and we're currently serving 40,000 children with chronic diseases who are on Medicaid. So it's a really meaningful business. It's called Imagine Pediatrics. And then once it became a large operating company, I moved into more of an advisory role and started my own healthcare firm where I do a lot of advisory and consulting work with venture firms and startups. And I also have pathways for aspiring physician founders that might want to start their own company. I have an incubator program. And I also have a podcast and then a community where we are building a two-sided marketplace to connect physicians with opportunities in startups.
Wow, you are very busy, but that's actually really amazing. How do you find time to balance all of this?
I think a lot of it has to do with knowing what parts of what you do require you and what can be outsourced. So I have 4 kids, but I have a lot of help at home. And actually, you might be surprised here. We actually homeschool. So they go to a co-op a couple days a week that does most of their core curriculum. And then I have an au pair who's a teacher who does a lot with them as well. And then when it comes to the physician pathways, I've designed programs that have more than just me involved. So I have a team that I've put in place and am actually looking to do some more hires for those programs and build it out so that it's not like just me. I really want it to be like so many different people's expertise that's helping train and prepare physicians for the startup world.
That's very thoughtful. I mean, it takes a lot to just get to the stage of where you are with building multiple businesses now. But do you feel like your medical background helped shape your approach to business?
Absolutely. That's like one of the things that I primarily talk to doctors about is just understanding our unbelievable depth of expertise and all the different ways you can use it. Like I said, I'm still practicing. I like seeing patients. Like I actually like being a doctor, delivering healthcare. But I think that when I first started working in the venture world, I sort of didn't know what I had to contribute, but it became clear that I was the doctor. And I realized that even if I wasn't like an expert in tech development or investment banking, there were people that were experts in that. And I was the expert in the medical side of things. And so leaning into that expertise and then just being willing to learn, like being willing to say, like, no, I don't know how to make a financial model. No, I haven't done a pitch before. I need to learn more about healthcare economics and how we're going to design our, back end tech. Like I learned all those things because I had the humility to say like, oh, wow, this is totally new to me and ask to learn. And then everything you do, it's like you're stacking skills.
Yeah, we do have a lot of skills that we don't really recognize as physicians. So I definitely agree with that. Now, did you have any mentorship or any role models along the way? As you know, of course, entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey.
I always had mentors and I selectively weeded out the sorts of people that were in an authority position to me that were actively telling me I couldn't reach my goals. And so seeking out the right mentors, I will say one of the first things that my firm did when I felt like they picked me up out of a hospital and dropped me into a, private equity firm and I was like a fish out of water. One of the first things they did was invest in an executive coach for me who is incredible. I'm in multiple masterminds right now. I spend a lot of time on my own personal development. It's probably the best investment that I can make because again, I'm gaining more skills and I'm able to create things on accelerated pathways. And even if I'm just kind of like a passive observer on the WhatsApp channel, sometimes I'll jump in, but everyone needs good mentors. And I like to be a mentor too.
Yeah, there's so much value in community and masterminds, and just like you said, surrounding yourself with the people that are going to uplift you. I really believe that. Now, what kind of mindset shift did you need to have as you were starting your entrepreneurial journey?
I can think of two main pivot points for me. One was when I left full time clinical medicine to go work at this firm and build a startup. And I had to believe that I could do it and believe that even if the company never launched, I had to believe that the experience in and of itself would be putting me on a totally different path that would be more aligned with how I wanted my life to be and more valuable. The second mindset shift I had to have was at the pivot point when I actually moved out of operating position in Imagine and handed it off to frankly more qualified team because I'm not an operator. I'm a visionary and I like to build things. We grew from 3 co-founders to I think we have 400 plus employees today. So it's like a big
Wow.
organization. But I think the main mindset shift I had, it was like, who do I need around me for me to not get stuck, both emotionally and psychologically and tactically, and really building those resources around myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about a time when you had a challenge that you had to overcome? And what lessons have you learned from that?
I think that I had a lot of imposter syndrome when I first started this physician focused business because I kind of didn't mean to start a physician focused business. It came out of necessity. I just was being approached by so many doctors wanting to know how they could work in startups because they knew I had been a founder and an advisor and a consultant, a board member, a chief medical officer. I've done all the roles. And I started these kind of pathways because I was like, I can't help someone with a 30-minute Zoom call, but maybe I can start creating resources for other people. And I think I realized over time that I can't put myself in that position where I feel personally accountable for everyone else's outcomes. I need to recruit the type of people to work with me who are really going to do the work and are going to gain value from what I have to offer. And I need to, I don't know, I feel like I overcame this challenge of realizing that my value and my contribution has to do with what I believe it to be. So if I don't believe myself, nobody else will either.
So you put the right teams and the right systems in place and let the people who are really good at those things lead the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've gained a really, really clear understanding of what I'm really good at. That I
Yeah.
have to be the one to do it and I'm well qualified to do it and lean into that and then get other people to do the other stuff.
Yes. It freed you from those not so essential responsibilities because you want to be able to continue to be the visionary.
Exactly.
Is there one piece of advice that you would give to others who are also starting out in a similar space?
Take one action. I think we do a lot of passive learning. We might go to a online summit or listen to a podcast or follow a newsletter or gather all this information because, we studied for however many years before we actually ever touched a human being in a medical setting. And I just think the first thing you have to do is do something, like take action, send someone a LinkedIn message, send someone a WhatsApp message, get an LLC, throw a website together, like use AI to build it. I think that
Yeah.
the process of taking an action leads to the next action and leads to the people that you need. Don't take passive action by just listening to stuff. Pick one thing and just do it.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. It's like we get stuck in this analysis paralysis and we can't move past it. But when you do start taking the small action steps, like that's when you actually build momentum and you end up growing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Start podcasts. It's super easy. You and I both did it. I literally
Yeah.
went out and I bought this microphone and I think I subscribed to actually the same platform that you have.
Is there one book recommendation that you have for our listeners today?
I'll show you one that I just read with my business mastermind. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it's really about becoming laser focused on what's the one thing that's going to get you to the next step. And it doesn't have to be one thing in your entire life. You could divide it up. You could put, what's the one thing I need to do in my marriage? What's the one thing I need to do in my business? And if you only focus on that thing and make sure you do that, then you're guaranteed to be moving forward.
I also just finished reading The One Thing a couple of weeks ago, and that book has transformed like my whole life. It's so amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I wish I had read it sooner. That's the only regret I have about that.
Yeah, well, hopefully people listening will pick it up.
Well, thank you so much, Alison, for being with us here today. It was a pleasure having you, and I hope to have you on a future episode, maybe next year. We'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, best of luck with your podcast. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the Coffee Playdate podcast. Hit subscribe, tune into the next episode, and I'll see you at the next coffee chat.